Hey there, Dexter. It's a game changer here. So this is video 2 of 2. So we're looking at this defense stat here and seeing what we can do about that. So I've done your troop review, and that obviously ties quite nicely in with your base review as well. So what we've suggested there, I think you could look at the snipers as a better defense sort of system. Certainly, you need some more higher power heli, and also you need to look at the spawn times of those as well. And we've already suggested that you need something like a Panzer, then another Panzer coming out of the war factory for additional air. Excuse my dogs. Now, your defense then really. So let's have a look at how this sort of works. So you've got it set up so that your CC's protecting your airfield, and yet you've got reapers coming out of it. So that's really not kind of how you want to do it now. Everybody's going to be kind of coming at you with F-35. So in my humble opinion, what I would probably suggest that you do is move the CC further this sort of way, okay, and then behind that put in the most valuable building that you want protecting, which is going to be the war factory, especially when you get the Panthers coming out of that, okay. And then what will happen, the F-35 takes the shortest route through, which if you set your base up correctly, you can engineer what that shortest sort of flight path is, and then obviously put the CC in front of the target. So if you think that they're going to go for your war factory, then shuffle that across, put the war factory behind the CC building, and then you've got better cover that way. So that's kind of how you want to be looking at it. Now, nobody's going to be struggling with machine guns, okay. Nobody is going to find them problematic. So really having three of them, it's just not going to kind of be effective enough base. Now where I think you're lacking in your whole base system really is anti-air, and I suspect that's how you get creamed. Now you've got what, basically a heavy flak, yeah, okay, that's fine, but then you've got one other flak, which again, that's fine. But where are your SAMs? I mean, you yourself are using F-35, so why would you not be thinking other people are going to be using F-35s as well? So you should be having at least two SAMs in there as high as you can, probably single boosted. So when these guys come in with you with F-35s and things along that sort of line, the single boosted SAMs to the maximum level will then obviously make sure those guys come out with a bit of a bad day. You already should be coming across a lot of Ghost Riders in people's attacks, and again, that needs to be sort of picked up by heavy SAMs. Just having a flak isn't sufficient, especially when you haven't got Panzers coming out of your war factory yet. You've got what, Macavers after 30 odd seconds or something like that. We've probably, yeah, okay, best red eye, but that's not going to bring down a Ghost Rider or an F-35, is it? So that's kind of where you need to be having a little look at. Now, I kind of think here as well, you've got what, like 20 turrets or something sharing one transformer. So what's that going to do? It's going to average, it's kind of give them like about 2% each or something like that. So you need to be kind of thinking about that. Now, obviously, you've got your salvo here, single boosted. Really, that should be a SAM. And now, what you do with the SAM as well is you click on it and you look at the circle around it, which is its kind of blind zone, if you will. And then if you know the F-35 is going to come down this way to take out your war factory, which we've already said where that needs to be, then you make sure that SAM is in constant air kind of cover, if you will. So that whatever happens, if you place it around about where the barracks is, as the F-35 comes down the flight corridor, this SAM's in constant range of it. So if you were, for example, to put it in front of the war factory, for example, then as the F-35 comes in, then automatically it's over the top of its blind spot. So there's quite a chunk of time where the SAM's not firing. So you kind of, if you think about doing that with, say, a couple of SAMs, so that they're constantly picking up the corridor of flight, if you will, then obviously that works out far better. Now just be careful how high up you're going up with these walls as well, because walls don't really do a great deal. So you can do save a little bit of XP on that. Okay, so have a little think about that for me. So I want to see probably more SAMs in here. Get rid of the machine guns. I mean, I do like the fact that you've got a little bit of diversity in your in your turrets. I quite like the railgun in there myself as well, especially for light vehicles. You've got at least one PM, so obviously make sure that you maybe, in fact, sorry, you've got 2 PM, so that's good. Make sure every single turret is absolute maxed. And if you get spare metal, put the other turrets, to higher level as well, so that if ever you want to swap turrets over, you've got obviously lots of options to do that. So potentially, what I would suggest that you do is maybe kind of move the turrets out a little bit. I mean, you potentially are vulnerable for an air strike and take out all your turrets, which is not good. So I would probably kind of like say put a couple of SAMs in there, but obviously get them in better positions. I'd maybe just get one of the rail guns in there. I think you probably could do with maybe a little bit of heavy howitzer in there as well, because that's a really good anti-fob unit. But 3 machine guns, nah, that's not going to cause anybody any bother. So we need to get rid of those. The airfield as well, if you think about it, obviously the airfield with the Avengers and later on other things, they're going to circle around here. So maybe bring that where your heavy flak is there, so that kind of covers more of the base rather than just sort of this top corner. And what I would do for the perfect setup is I would have me CC push quite high up. I'd then have my war factory. Behind that I would then have my my heavy flak. And that works really, really well as a defence system in conjunction with the other things that we've discussed. So priorities then, get these units looked at, get some, get the anti-air looked at, get rid of these machine guns. They look like they should be shit up. Everything is machine gun proof, really. I mean, you could park, a tank there in front of said machine guns all day, get your dinner, and then come back and still be fighting. So it's not really going to cause anybody the bother that you need it to. Flak, again, there's nothing wrong with having a flak. I think they start to become less useful at higher levels, and certainly if you've got your snipers and you've got your panzers that we've discussed, I think that would be as good as any flak, really, personally. But yeah, certainly until you've got those in, maybe you could put an extra flak in there. But yeah, SAMs, howitzer. The PMs are fine, salvos are fine. Maybe you could put an extra one of those in if you wish, so maybe go with 2 SAMs, 2 PMs, 1 howitzer, and just see what else sort of works out better, really. But yeah, definitely want to see this base layout changed a little bit as well. I mean, looking at mine placements, they're working out quite nicely. I suspect if you got somebody from one of the other alliances to scan your base, you'd probably have lots of spawn gaps here. It's 2.5 squares maximum, isn't it, between a building? But mines don't cover that. So although you've put your mines here, you could probably find you could spawn actually quite close to your base because you haven't quite got your spacing set up. So that'd be well worth looking at. When you leave us guys, maybe give us a nod and I'll do a proper scan of your base as an enemy would see, if you will. We can maybe switch your enemy for a little bit just so we can do a proper assessment that way. So I'd probably get a couple of these buildings here and maybe fill in where the mines are there, just to make sure there's no kind of like silly spawn zone gaps in that sort of area. And then obviously consider what we've suggested for the flight path of the F-35. And what I want you to start doing going forward now, my friend, is now you've got some pretty decent units in your attack. Well, what would cause you bother? What did you last lose to? What did you get your ass kicked with? When you took on somebody's base, and then start thinking about using them things yourself in attack. Because I bet you're not slightly troubled at all by Macarthur and shit helicopters and stuff like that. So why would they? So that's really why your base defense, could be at say 50%, and it's maybe in the early 30s. There's lots that you can do to improve, which is excellent. Because now you can start to improve them. All right, my man. Take care. Game changer out.